स्वयं रूप वंदेहं श्री गुरुण वैष्णवांश्च श्री रूपं सजीवं साधुतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण सरगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे हे विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य नमो भगवान कृष्ण कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु गोपेश गोपिका तप्तकांचन विशुद्धे देवी प्रणमामि वंशाकल्पतरु पश्चात् जय श्री श्री अद्वैत श्रीवासुदेव हरे कृष्ण हरे राम Krishna. So last time we were discussing from Bhakti Sindhu. In our discussion from the Angas of Bhakti, so we have to continue from here. Jnana and Vairagya are not linked to Bhakti. So what we have discussed today till now is we have discussed the definitions of sadhana bhakti, and then in that we saw there are two types: Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and Raganuga sadhana bhakti. Then definition of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti was given, and then there it was discussed.
So voice is not very clear to me. Is it for others also? Not very clear. As it is general.
Some problem with the voice today, I don't know.
Yeah, Prem Latika Mata is also saying for her also I think it's not very clear.
Okay, Yamanagrastu, are you able to hear?
Like we are able to hear, but it's not very clear as it is generally there.
Yeah, it seems like your microphone is bit away, like voice is a bit low.
Okay.
Okay, microphone was different. Connected to some earphone, I think.
Yeah,
now it's better. Now it's better.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. It is connected to some earphone. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So what I was saying is what we discussed till now is the definition of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, and then who are the qualified persons for Sadhana Bhakti, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. It was discussed Kanishtadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, and Uttamadhikari. These are the three people who are qualified. And then we saw what are the different limbs that they have to practice. 64 limbs we have seen. Now in that Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti last part we are seeing, which is the 14th chapter actually from NOD. That some of the last part that Gyan and Vairagya are not limbs of Bhakti. Now he has described, Rupa Goswami has described what are the limbs of Bhakti. Now he is describing what are not the limbs of Bhakti. So first of them he has described is Gyan and Vairagya are not the limbs. Okay, so then we will see this topic onwards. Yeah, so Gyan and Vairagya, not Teams of Bhakti. So Rupa Goswami has composed this shloka. We will read this. Gyan Vairagya Yor Bhakti Pravesha Upayoge Praveshyaya Upayogita Ishat Prathamam Eveti Na Angatvam Uchitam Tayoh. Okay, Yamuna Vilasru, want to read?
Yes, Praji. Jnana and Vairagya are suitable for entering bhakti, being somewhat useful in the beginning of bhakti, but they are not considered angas of bhakti.
Correct. Thank you. So here, very, very simple verse. Rupa Goswami is saying, Gyan Vairagya, these two, Gyan and Vairagya, are suitable for entering bhakti. Okay. So in the beginning, it may be little bit relevant. Okay. What is the actual meaning we will see in the commentary. Jiva Goswami and Srila Prabhupada will also tell. So being somewhat useful in the beginning of bhakti. Okay. Somewhat useful in the beginning only. Okay. That's what he's saying. Ishat Prathamam Eva. In the beginning. But they are not considered angas of bhakti. But it's not that they have to be cultivated as a anga of bhakti throughout. Okay. So let's see what it means. Yes, Prabhu.
Jnana here refers to realization of Tvam Pradartha Jiva, Tat Pradartha Brahman, and finally realization of their oneness, Tattvam Asi. This is called Brahma Jnana, consisting of three stages. The word Isat somewhat means that the knowledge of Jiva and Brahman are useful, but realization of oneness should be rejected.
Hmm. So this gyan which is talked about here is not the gyan and vairagya which are automatically produced from bhakti. Okay, which is talked about in Shrimad Bhagavatam. Ah, that gyan and vairagya are produced from bhakti. That is very famous. But this gyan which is talked about is called, this is Brahma gyan. And what is the problem with this? It talks about oneness. Oneness of what? Tat and Tvam. Oneness of that with oneself. So that is not favorable for bhakti. Okay. So Ishat. So here he is saying that means that knowledge of Jiva and Brahman are useful, but realization of oneness should be rejected. So the three parts, out of the three parts, what are the three parts? First is the Tvam Pradartha, means the Jiva. Jiva Tattva, one should know. Okay, that living entity is part and parcel, that's minuscule in size, and it is having limited qualities compared to the Supreme Lord, and it is qualitatively different, one, but quantitatively different. Okay, like that Jiva Tattva we should know. That even Brahmavadis also have to know. And then Tat Padartha, Tat means that. Who is that? Lord. About the Lord we have to know. So Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti, Shabdete. These three aspects we have to know. But which part we have to reject is that Tattvam Asi. Now, Nirbheda Brahmanusandhana means to merge with the Brahman. That part we have to give up. So first and second part he is saying are favorable, are useful. So here we can see that knowledge of the Jiva, that is the first, and Brahman, second, are useful. Because Brahmavadi and devotees both have to know about the position of Lord and position of Jiva. Both are to be known. But realization of oneness should be rejected. The third part has to be rejected only. Okay. The first two are somewhat useful in that sense. Okay. So first two are useful, not the third part. Okay. So somewhat is one and two useful. Third is not useful. Okay. Jiva Tattva we have to also know. Jivera Swarup hai, Krishna Nitya Das, that we have to know. They also have to know that Jiva is the Jiva Tattva, whatever the specific things we have to know, they have to know, Brahmavadis. And for Lord also, we have to know, and they also have to know that Lord is Vibhu, we are Anu. All these things we have to know also. But the third that we both have to merge, that we have to reject. Okay, this is the meaning. Yes, please continue.
Vairagya in the verse means the type of renunciation that is useful only for Brahmagnan. That part of Vairagya which is contrary to Bhakti should also be rejected. That is the meaning of Isat in in relation to Vairagya.
Vairagya. Yeah. So same point he is continuing that Vairagya in the verse means the type of renunciation that is useful only for Brahma Gyan. Okay, that part of Vairagya which is contrary to Bhakti should be also be rejected. So first, previous slide we saw there was discussion about the first part, Jnana. Okay, this was the first part, Jnana. Second part of the shloka is Vairagya. That is being discussed here. The second part. So this is which kind of Vairagya? Which is contrary to Bhakti. That should be rejected. That is the meaning of Ishat in relation to Vairagya. So Gyan also, which is making one understand that one has to merge with the Lord, has to be rejected. And Vairagya also, which is meaning or which is contrary to Bhakti, should be rejected. Okay, so that is the meaning of Ishat or somewhat. Okay, yeah, continue.
Jnana, Jnana and Vairagya are somewhat useful only in the beginning of bhakti. That means that they are suitable only at the stage of giving up attachment to other objects. When attachments have been given up and a person begins practicing bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya become insignificant.
Hmm. Now that Gyan and Vairagya which a person may have in the beginning, it's somewhat useful. Again, that same word Ishat. It is somewhat useful. So first meaning of somewhat was what? Only a part of that is useful. Which part? That part which is Jiva and Lord. Tat and Tvam. These two are regulated, but Tattvam Asi that has to be rejected. And then Vairagya also which is contrary to Bhakti, which makes the heart very hard, that is to be rejected. That is one meaning. Second meaning of somewhat is being told here that it is necessary only in the beginning of bhaktis little bit. Why is it necessary? That is being explained. It is required only at the stage of giving up attachment to other objects. Like when we want to come into bhakti, some of the sense objects and things we have to give up, like non-prasadam. Okay, we may want to give up onion garlic, and most of the devotees may not be eating any meat or whatever non-veg, or they have to start following four regulatory principles. So the bhakti has two components. One is the knowledge component, jnana. Okay, this is bhakti unmukh gyan, and plus as well as there is chanting of the holy name. Okay, so this we get by studying the shastra, and chanting is the chanting of holy names. So chanting gives strength to knowledge, and knowledge gives strength to chanting. Okay, so they work in a cycle. Okay, and we have seen many devotees, those devotees who were having very bad habits even before coming to bhakti, when they start chanting, they can very quickly give up those bad habits just by chanting. Even though they may not have much of the understanding of the philosophy, but once they get understanding of the philosophy, then they get very much stable in bhakti also. Okay. So when attachments have been given up and a person begins practicing bhakti, jnana and vairagya become insignificant. So when one actually has progressed little bit in bhakti, then this jnana and vairagya will automatically become insignificant, which were required in the beginning only. When it was required to give up some of the attachments from the material life, then in the beginning they were somewhat relevant, but later it becomes insignificant. Okay, when they progress little bit. Yeah.
Also, after beginning bhakti, thinking of these processes will distract a person from bhakti. Thus, they are useful only in the very beginning of bhakti.
Correct. So they will also distract the person from bhakti. What is the bhakti? Bhakti is the nine limbs, Navavida Bhakti, as we say, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. So in that we have to hear about the Lord and we have to serve the Lord. But if the person starts continuing, he continues to develop this jnana and vairagya. So the jnana will make him understand that okay, I am similar to the Lord, I am equal to the Lord, I can merge with the Lord, then the service attitude will go away. Okay, if one continues it. And Vairagya will make the heart more hard. That will be explained later through another verse. That how the Vairagya will be artificial renunciation. Cultivation will lead to lot of problems in bhakti, because bhakti is a activity where one has to cultivate rasa, and one has to experience that rasa, but in a hard heart it cannot happen. Okay, because it's a process where one has to develop relationship with the Lord, relationship with devotees, and in a hard heart that relationship is very difficult to cultivate. Okay, yes, what Srila Prabhupada says, please read.
Srila Prabhupada about this verse, some scholars recommend that knowledge and renunciation are important factors for elevating oneself to devotional service. But actually, that is not a fact. Actually, the cultivation of knowledge or renunciation, which are favorable for achieving a footing in Krishna consciousness, may be accepted in the beginning, but ultimately they may also come to be rejected. Sorry. For devotional service is dependent on nothing rather than the sentiment or desire for such service. It requires nothing more than sincerity.
Yeah, so Srila Prabhupada is summarizing the whole thing what Jiva Goswami was saying. So he is first quoting the opposition, what the opposition says. So anywhere we see acharyas, na, they will follow his style. What is opposition? They will tell their views, and then they will or they will tell the doubts. Okay, that's called akshepasya samadhanam. Whatever is the doubt which is possible on the topic, they will state the doubt. But somebody may ask a question like this, somebody may think like this. People will, so Prabhupada and other Acharya will bring out the point like that. And then after that, they will tell what is the fact and what is the understanding of bhakti. Okay, so that's how they write also in purports. So some scholars recommend that knowledge and renunciation are important. So this is the doubt which a person may have, correct, or devotee may also have that, oh, these are important factors, right? So then Prabhupada is saying that is not a fact, and then he's not stopping there, he's explaining it also why it is not important. So actually the cultivation of knowledge or renunciation which are favorable for achieving a footing in Krishna consciousness may be accepted. Means what? A foundation may be little bit there based on that, but it's not that whole building has to be made on that Gyan and Vairagya. But ultimately they may also come to be rejected. For devotional service is independent is dependent on nothing other than the sentiment or desire for such service. And as I told, that desire and the sentiment for that service is not going to develop if there is jnana and vairagya being cultivated, because that will make the heart very hard towards relationship with devotee and with the Lord. Okay, so that's why jnana and vairagya. Another thing is also the vairagya will make the heart, and then jnana will make what? Understand that, oh, I am equal to Lord, so there is no need of service. Okay, so these two problems will come. It requires nothing more than sincerity. So that is the most important factor that one should have in bhakti. Okay. Okay. So continuing this. यद उभे चित्त काठिन्य हेतु प्रायः सता मते सुकुमार स्वभावेयम भक्तिस्तद्धेतुरीरिता. Okay, somebody else can read. Kishore Vyas, you want to read?
Because jnana and vairagya generally make the heart hard.
Keep the microphone little near to your mouth.
Yes, yes, I was just adjust now. Because
Yeah,
Gyan and Vairagya generally make the heart harsh, the authoritative devotees have concluded that Bhakti alone, whose nature is very tender, is the cause of entering into Bhakti.
yeah. So that's we were discussing till now that they make the heart very hard, or it makes the heart harsh. Chitta kaఠिन्य, kaఠिन. We have the word in, I think in Marathi also you'll have kaఠिन्य. So kaఠिन बन जाता है heart. हाँ. So what is made making the heart hard is jnana and vairagya. Ubhe, these two. So what is the who is saying this? So he is saying authoritative devotees have concluded satam mate. So those who are authoritative devotees, like Krishna also says in Bhakti in Bhagavad Gita, right? That many or Krishna Arjuna also says. Krishna also refers to many devotees, and Arjuna also says Asita Devala Vyasa. They all have accepted you as Supreme Lord, so I also accept like that. Okay. So that bhakti alone, whose nature is very tender, is cause of entering into bhakti. So what he is saying that jnana and vairagya will make the heart very harsh. And then another thing, that is first point. Second point is that bhakti alone. Okay, this is the second point. Bhakti alone, whose nature is very tender, sukumar. Okay. स्वभावेयम, जिसका स्वभाव क्या है? सुकुमार, वेरी कोमल, लाइक दैट, इज कॉज ऑफ एंटरिंग इनटू भक्ति. तद हेतुर ईरिता. So bhakti itself is the cause of bhakti. That's why bhakti is called causeless. Okay, so it's very like we can say paradoxical or oxymoronious that even though bhakti is called ahetuki, it doesn't mean that it has no reason, it has no cause. What it means is bhakti has the cause of bhakti itself. Like sadhan bhakti is the cause of bhava bhakti, and bhava bhakti is the cause of prema bhakti. Okay, so that's why it is said bhakti is the cause of bhakti, and that's why bhakti is ahetuki, means it has no material cause. Okay, we should not think that it has no cause means no cause, not in that way. Okay, so here it is told bhakti alone is the cause for entering into bhakti. Okay, yeah, please read.
This verse speaks of another fault in being attached to Gyan and Vairagya. They cause hardness in the heart.
Yeah,
They,
please read from here this verse.
this verse speaks
Uh,
of another fault in being attached to Gyan and Vairagya.
mm,
They cause hardness in the heart. In Jnana, one must deliberate on the truth by defeating a variety of other philosophies, and in Vairagya, one must renounce enjoyment by repeated toleration of suffering.
hmm. So now it is telling that what is the fact with Gyan and Vairagya which is doing this hard-heartedness it's creating. The first point is one must deliberate upon the truth by defeating a variety of other philosophies. And as we saw in the 64 limbs, there is one of the limbs that it says one should not try to study multiple books and multiple philosophies. Okay, that was also one of the don'ts of bhakti. Okay, Bahu Granth Okay, that's Rupa Goswami was saying. Bahu Granth Bahu Grantha. So, like that, defeating a variety of other philosophies for the purpose of defeating, as we have seen, that also our Gaudiya Vaishnavas are not very interested in defeating others' philosophy until unless it comes to the place that we cannot exist only. Like Baldev Vidyabhushan had to defeat others, Ramanandis and others, because it came to a state that the Radha Krishna worship itself was going to be stopped. So otherwise, like Rupa Goswami and all, we have seen they are not interested into defeating others. Okay, and we know the pastime of uh, some scholars approaching Rupa Goswami, and they were happily ready to sign on the Vijay Patra. Okay, but obviously Jiva Goswami later countered. So yeah, and second point is about Vairagya. One must renounce enjoyment by repeated toleration of suffering. So this is also another drawback with the process of Vairagya. Okay, because some type of sense engagement is required in bhakti. It's not that one has to completely shut down the senses. Okay, like it's allowed to enjoy prasad. It's allowed to enjoy dancing. It's allowed to enjoy fasting also, and allowed to enjoy feasting also, and chanting also. Everybody, everything we can enjoy. Okay, as we progress. Yeah, please continue.
The very nature of these practices is harsh or unpleasant, and thus the heart becomes similarly harsh. This is the opposite of sweetness and softness of the heart. But how can a person enter into higher and higher stages of bhakti without some sort of assistance? The answer is given.
Yeah, so that's why he is saying that, yeah, actually it's making the heart very hard. This why? Because this practice itself is harsh. So, as we have seen in Srimad Bhagavatam also, we have many verses where it says how the process of jnana is very hard, and Ashtanga Yoga also is very hard. Okay, so Aruhya Krichayana Parampadam Tatah Patantyadaha Anarita Anadrita Yushmadangraya. So Aruhya Krichayana, that word is used in that shloka. So if you see, the meaning is that very very hard kind of practices are there in that jnana and yoga systems. Okay, Aruhya Krishena Parampadam Tatah Patantyadha Anadrita Yushmadayangraha, like that. So okay, so that's very difficult, very unpleasant situations are there. Okay. And but bhakti is what? Bhakti is about sweetness and softness of heart. So the more the heart will be soft, that much more one can realize the sweetness of Krishna. Okay. So that's why he's asking question in a way that is already answered, means it's not needed. Okay, he's asking a rhetoric question. How can a person enter into higher and higher stage of bhakti without some sort of assistance? The answer is given. Yes. Read.
Bhakti is said to be the cause of entering bhakti, and previous acts of bhakti alone are the cause of entering into higher stages of bhakti.
So yeah, somebody may say, "Oh, you don't want Gyan and Vairagya, then how will you enter into Bhakti? You need na." So he's saying, no, it's not like that. Bhakti itself will cause entering into Bhakti. So that's explained very nicely in Madhuri Kadamini, chapter 1, by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that how Bhakti in the heart of Madhyamadikari, who is doing preaching, is transferred gradually to the heart of the devotee who is becoming a devotee. Okay, so that's explained there. So nothing else but Bhakti itself is a cause of Bhakti. Okay, and previous acts of bhakti, what is the meaning of previous acts of bhakti? It's bhakti sukriti. So whatever that person has got bhakti sukriti in previous lives or this life, so that sukriti will mature into what? Shraddha. So when sukriti is sufficiently matured, then he will get shraddha, and then shraddha he will start bhakti. Okay. Okay, next. Tasman mad bhakti yuktasya yogino vay madatmanah na jnanam na cha vairagyam praya shreyo bhaved iha. Okay, somebody else can read. Prasanna Gopal Ru, you want to read?
Yes, ma'am. Therefore, for a devotee engaged in my loving service, with mind fixed on me, the cultivation of knowledge, impersonal or renunciation is generally not means of achieving the highest perfection within this world.
Yeah, so Srimad Bhagavatam Pramana is given from Uddhav Gita, where Krishna himself is speaking. Generally, we will see that Rupa Goswami and other Acharya will give any proof for the statements which they are saying. They will give proof from directly 11th canto or places where Lord himself is speaking. Okay, so it's most authoritative. Like they will quote from Bhagavad Gita or they will quote from Srimad Bhagavatam Uddhav Gita, like that. Okay, so we have to also note that, okay, how they are proving the points on philosophy. We should also note and we should also understand that we have to speak also similarly. Not that we keep speaking our own things. That yeah, I feel it should be like this, I feel it should be like that. No, how they are presented, we should also learn. How Prabhupada speaks in lectures. Every statement he will speak, then he will tell something from scriptures. One quote he will give. Then after 2-3 minutes again he will speak one quote. So we should also learn to speak like that. Okay. No, here he is saying that therefore a devotee engaged in my loving service in Bhakti Yoga basically, with mind fixed on me, Madatmana, the cultivation of knowledge, Jnana, obviously impersonal knowledge, not that knowledge which is required for bhakti, like studying of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, these are required. Not that kind of knowledge. That knowledge which is for merging, that kind of knowledge is not required, basically. And renunciation, like artificial renunciation, later it will come that he will define Yukta Vairagya and Falgu Vairagya for this purpose. He will explain later, okay, what is the definition and how devotee should cultivate Yukta Vairagya and not cultivate Falgu Vairagya. Okay, so that Falgu Vairagya, that false renunciation has to be given up. Okay, this is generally not the means of highest perfection. What is highest perfection? That is Krishna Prema. Because for Krishna Prema, heart should be very soft. Yeah, please read.
Srila Prabhupada about this verse. It is the opinion of expert devotees that mental speculation and artificial austerities of the yoga practice may be favorable for beginning liberated from material contamination, but they will also make one's heart harder and harder. They will not help at all in the progress of devotional service. These processes are therefore not favorable for entering into the transcendental loving service of the Lord.
Yeah, so Prabhupada also telling the very same thing, that in the opinion of this expert devotee, as Rupa Goswami told, right? Satam Mataha, those were great devotees, in their opinion, these are not required. What is not required? This Jnana. Generally, Prabhupada translate Jnana as mental speculation. Okay, and other Vairagya he has translated as artificial austerity, basically Falgu Vairagya. Okay, or artificial renunciation, like that. Okay, these are not favorable. Okay, but they will, because they will make one's heart very hard, harder and harder. They will not help in progress of devotional service, which requires a very soft heart. Okay, these processes are therefore not favorable entering into transcendental loving service of the Lord. Continue.
Actually, Krishna consciousness, a devotional service itself, is the only way of advancing in devotional life. Devotional service is obsolete. It is both the cause and the effect. The Supreme Personality Godhead is the cause and effect of all that be. And to approach Him, the Absolute, the process of devotional service, which is also absolute, has to be adopted.
Sorry, something else happened.
Adopted, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, so same thing. Prabhupada is saying that how devotional service only is the cause of devotional service and nothing else has to be done. That is itself absolute. It is both cause and effect. Okay, devotional service itself causes devotional service. Bhakta sanjataya bhaktya. Okay, that is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, continue.
This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita by the Lord Himself. One can understand me only through devotional service. In the beginning, his teaching of Gita, the Lord said to Arjuna, "Because you are my devotee, I shall teach these secrets to you." Vedic knowledge means ultimately to understand the Supreme Lord and the process of entering into the kingdom of devotional service.
Yeah, so Prabhupada is quoting from Bhagavad Gita, two verses. So Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvatah. Only a devotee can know me how I am as it is. Tatvatah, how I am, like how I am. Krishna is saying, I am like Yashodanandan. I am like Shyam Sundar. I am Radhika Raman. A devotee only can know me like this. That is, and Gyanis and Yogis, they will think, oh, he is Brahman. They will think, oh, he is Paramatma. No, no, devotees don't think like that. So as it is, Miss Tattvatam is Yashoda Nandan, Shyam Sundar, Radhika Raman, all these things he will understand, a devotee. Okay. In the beginning, his teachings of Gita, the Lord said to Arjuna, yes, another sloka he is quoting now, that because you are my friend and you are my devotee, so I shall teach these secrets to you. Okay. So only to a devotee he can teach us. That's what he says. And he says also, those are not devotees should not be spoken this message. So 18th chapter, when he says that one who will tell this knowledge to the devotees, he is very, very dear to me. Yeah. And then next verse he will tell that one should not speak this knowledge to non-devotees. Okay. Like that. Yeah, Vedic knowledge means ultimately to understand the Supreme Lord and the process of entering into His kingdom. Yeah, continue.
This is accepted by all authentic scriptures. Mental speculators neglect the process of devotional service, and by simply trying to defeat others in philosophical research, they fail to develop the ecstasy of devotion.
Yeah, so there are so many people who are like very scholarly and they have studied Jiva Goswami's commentaries and Sat Sandarbhas, everything, but they fail to develop the devotion. Okay, why? Because they have approached it with, as a material subject matter and they have not learnt it under a guru. So then just having material scholarship will not develop bhakti in them. Okay, like that. Okay, any questions till now? What we discussed? Okay, so we will continue. So this is the next topic. The goals of Jnana and Vairagya and other processes are achieved by bhakti alone. So somebody may think, oh, Jnana and Vairagya we need not do. So are we going to miss something? So Rupa Goswami is clarifying that also. No, we are not going to miss anything because bhakti is all encompassing. Yeah. So here he is saying, Kintu Jnana Virakti Adi Sadhyam Bhakteva Sadhyati. Okay, somebody else can read. Is Anuradha Mataji?
However, the goals of jnana, vairagya, and other processes are achieved by bhakti alone. The goal of jnana is liberation. The goal of vairagya is jnana. These are indeed achieved by bhakti alone.
Yeah, so same thing. The goals of Jnana and Vairagya. What is goal of Jnana and Vairagya? Both are goals are liberation. Right, earlier it was mentioned liberation is the goal. And other processes, Jnana Virakti Adi Sadhyam are achieved by Bhakti alone. So a devotee attains much more than liberation. Okay. So even though he attains liberation as a secondary effect, just like many times we have discussed the cooking with the wood. So it produces ashes. So the liberation is like the ashes. And the devotee gets Krishna Prema also, which is actually the food, which is cooked. So Krishna Prema, which is highest, that also he gets, and liberation anyhow is accompanied. And as many times we have seen that Mukti, Mukulitanjali, Bhakti Rasmat. So the Mukti is like Chetikavat also it is told. In same Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasam Sindhu we studied. That Mukti is like Chetikavat, is just like a maid servant for the devotees who is asking the devotees, please accept me. But devotees don't want only liberation. They want Krishna Prema, which already accompanies liberation. Hmm. Next he is quoting a proof from again Uddhav Gita. Yat karma bhir yat tapasa jnana vairagya yatascha yat yogena dana dharmena shreyo bhir iterairapi sarvam mad bhakti yogena mad bhakto labase anjasa swargapavargam madhama kathanchid yadi vanchati. Yeah, continue.
Everything that can be achieved by fruitive activity, penance, knowledge, detachment, mystic yoga, charity, religious duty, and all other means of perfecting life is easily achieved by my devotee through loving service unto me. If somehow or other my devotee desires promotion to heaven, liberation, or residence in my abode, he easily achieves such benediction.
Yeah, so very simple to understand this. Just like uh, a king is there, so king has to take care of his praja, all the people in the country. So he will make some rules and he will give them some facilities. Okay, now the king's son is there, so he doesn't have to think whether there is some policy for me or not, whether king is going to my father will take care of me or not. No, doesn't have to think anything whether those policies are applicable on me, or he doesn't have to think whether he will be sending me to school, or he doesn't have to think whether tomorrow I'll get my food. No, nothing like that. He is being very well taken care. If the king is ready to take care of all the people in the country, why not his son? So son will get lot of much more things like actually. So that's what here is told, that a devotee, he will easily achieve all this anjasa. He will labhate anjasa. All this he will easily achieve. And even if he wants liberation or residence in my abode, sarupya, salokya, samipya, all these liberations, he easily achieves all of them. And it was very easily achievable for Dhruv Maharaj and all the devotees. But what is their prayer? Their prayer ultimately is no, we want only service to you. And we don't want these things if they are not accompanied by service to you. Okay, like that. Yeah, please read.
Kathachit yadi vansati me, if a person desires things which are useful for serving in devotion. Examples are Chitraketu enjoying in his airplane, given by the Lord Sukadev, desiring to reject Maya, and Prahlad desiring to live near the Lord.
Yeah, so he is saying kathanchit, this is very important word. Somehow or other, if a person wants, or maybe sometime he wants, like that also can be translated. If a person desires things which are useful serving in devotion, or some things a devotee may feel, oh, maybe this is required for me to serve the Lord. Okay, that Lord will very easily give. What are the examples? Like Chitraketu. He was enjoying in his airplane, given by Lord. Correct, Sankarshana. Sukdev, desiring to reject Maya, he was also given that facility. Prahlad, desiring to live near the Lord, he was also given that benediction. Correct. Dhruv Maharaj, even though he did not want the wealth, he was given the wealth. Sudama Brahman, he did not speak out, he was given the wealth. Correct. So many examples are there. Gajendra did not know who is the Lord. He was also given the result. And Ajamila, he never knew whom he is calling out. And he is calling his son. He was also given. So who is not given? Even non-devotees are given. So what to speak of devotees then? Yeah, so it said in the section of Ajamila that Kimuta Shraddhaya Grinan. Okay. So he says that, oh, Ajamila chanted without faith and he got liberation. And he got opportunity to practice bhakti, and Yamadutas left him and Vishnudutas protected him and instructed in bhakti. Correct. We get instruction from some devotees, but they got instruction directly from Vishnudutas. So such a great benediction. So these are the effects of chanting the holy name without calling out the Lord actually and without faith. So the last line says Kimuta Shraddhaya Giranan. What if one takes to the holy name with faith? Like all of us are chanting with faith. So what to speak of those? Like that the verse says, Sukdev Goswami is saying. Okay. So for devotees, the future is very, very bright. Okay. So whatever difficulty may come in devotees' life, they should never think, oh, Lord is never seeing me. No, Lord is actually personally taking care. That's why He is personally making the path for all of us. And today only we were hearing Srimad Bhagavatam also that whatever situation we are in, we should understand that is the best situation for us actually. Okay, because the tendency in this world is we think that grass is greener on the other side. So males think that female body is good, female think the male body is good for bhakti, and Americans think Indian body is good, Indians think American body is good. Like that, there are so many things people can think, but one should understand whatever situation one is disposed into, that is best actually for him. And if one thinks that no, that one is better, that one is good body, then he will have to take maybe one, two lives. How many ever desires are there, that many lifetimes he will have to take to fulfill that desire and take that many bodies. Okay, obviously all are humans, but one should understand, yeah, whatever body I am in, Krishna has personally curated. Like we have na very costly cars are there. So it said like they are customized cars. So the people give many crores of rupees to get the cars customized for them. But devotee's life is customized personally free of cost by Krishna himself. That what is best for him, which happiness should come to his life, which misery should come to his life, at what time it should come. Everything is personally given by Krishna in our life. Okay, that faith we should have. Okay. Now again he is quoting from Shrimad Bhagavatam from Prahlad Maharaj. Prastrasto asmi ham kripanavatsala dussahogra samsara chakra kadanad grasatam pranitah baddha swakarma bhirushattamate angri moolam prito apavarga sharanam vayase kadanu. Okay, please read.
O Lord, who are kind to the fallen souls, excellent Lord, thrown into the association of devouring demons, bound
Voice is
by
not very clear, Mataji. Actually, I'm not able to hear. Others, is it clear?
I was
Yeah,
little
it's
bit
little low.
Yeah, okay,
okay.
please read again.
Networking also.
O Lord, who are kind to the fallen souls, excellent Lord, thrown into the association of devouring demons, bound by my karmas, I am afraid of destruction through the intolerably serious wheel of samsara. When will you call me to the shelter of your lotus feet, which award liberation?
Yeah, so Prahlad Maharaj is saying that he wants liberation, but generally devotees don't pray for liberation. Then why is he asking? So he is saying that I am afraid of something. What I am afraid of? Destruction. But devotee should not be fearful of any material misery. Correct. So he's saying, no, no, it's not a material misery. It is coming through the fierce wheel of samsara, but it is about the association of non-devotees that I am fearful, which is going to affect my bhakti. Like that, he's thinking. Obviously, he is very great devotee, so his bhakti will not get hampered. But he's giving an example for us that what we should be afraid of. We should be afraid of association of non-devotees, like for him, devouring demons. Okay. So he's not afraid of any materialistic situation which are mentioned here, but he's afraid of association of non-devotees, which will hamper his spiritual life. So he wants to attain what? Spiritual abode. Okay, apavarga. For him, it is the abode of the Lord. And that's where he went actually. So that he can practice the bhakti nicely. So that is not the desire out of devotional service. It's not anya bhilasha. To protect one's bhakti is not anya bhilasha. Okay, that is very much in the purview of uttama bhakti. Okay. Any questions on what we discussed till now? Okay, so we will continue.
Prabhuji, Prabhuji,
Yeah,
can you please repeat this thing which you just said about Prahlad Maharaj in the last, that it is not Uttama Bhakti, right?
it's
I
not
mean,
against
it is not against Uttama Bhakti,
to protect one's to have desire to protect one's bhakti is not against uttama bhakti.
but it is also not Anyabhilashita wala
It is
definition. No?
it is anya vilashita. Because
It
what is
is,
the definition of anya vilashita? We discussed earlier. Bhukti and mukti desires are anya vilasha. So which desire it is coming into bhukti or mukti?
nothing, I guess.
Then it is anya vilashita. Shunyam. Okay.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Okay. So next is 17th topic. Taste for bhakti destroys all material attachments. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Arun Pro, please read.
Previously, Vairagya was condemned at the beginning of Bhakti because it causes the heart to become hard. However, if Vairagya is forbidden, a person practicing Bhakti will be filled with material desires. And having such desires is against the scriptures, for it is said in Vishnu Puran.
Yeah. Yeah. Please read.
विषयाविषिताचूतस्य कृष्णवेष सुदोहत वारुणी विगतं वस्तु वृजन्नेन्द्रिं किम् आपनुयात्. The person absorbed in material enjoyment is far from being absorbed in Krishna. How can a person going east fetch an object moving to the west? To answer this dilemma, the author supplies the following words. रुचिं उद्धव तस्तत्र जनस्य भजने हरे विषयेषु गरिष्ठो अपि रागप्रायो विलीयते. If a person has a taste for worshipping the Lord, even if he has strong material attractions, those attractions will be for the most part destroyed during sadhana without resorting to Vairagya.
Hmm. Okay, we'll discuss till here. So earlier, basically the topic we are discussing here is taste for bhakti. It destroys all the material attachments. Okay, as one progresses in bhakti, we understand anarthas go away and material attachments will be reduced. Okay. So now he is saying previously, now what we discussed till now, Vairagya was condemned. Why? Because it makes the heart hard. Chitta kathinya. Okay, at the beginning of bhakti, because it causes the heart to become hard. Same thing. Okay. However, if Vairagya is forbidden, the person practicing bhakti will be filled with material desires. Okay, so if it is forbidden, then what will happen? One will be filled with material desires, and having such desires is against scriptures. For that, Praman is given that yes, it's not good to cultivate material desires. Okay, person absorbed in material enjoyment, as it is qualification for bhakti is what? As we have been discussing, three things. First is faith, second is some degree of detachment. Okay, na atisakto, na nirvinno. Correct. While defining the qualification for bhakti, Rupa Goswami told these three factors. Na atisakto, na nirvinno. Okay. So faith should be there, little bit detachment, and little bit attachment should be there. Okay. If person is filled with detachment, he is qualified for Gyan Marg. If he is full of attachment, he is qualified for Karma Marg. And he should have faith in bhakti. These three qualifications are there to practice bhakti. So if one is having too much of attachment, then lot of material enjoyment desires will be there. Then he cannot focus on his chanting, reading, hearing, nothing. Always the thoughts will be there of enjoying the sense objects like that. And then he is quoting another thing. The author supplies the following verse. If he has a taste for worshipping the Lord, even if he has strong material attractions, those attractions will be for the most part destroyed. Prayo nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya. Correct, like we hear. Almost it is destroyed. Sadhana, during sadhana without restoring to Vairagya. So one doesn't have to take to Vairagya thinking that it will remove the material attractions, because bhakti itself is sufficient to give that Vairagya. Okay, Janayashu Vairagyam is already there. Janayati Ashu Vairagyam. Okay, so very quickly Bhakti can produce Vairagya, which is required for Bhakti. So Krishna doesn't need or Bhakti Yoga, Krishna doesn't need the help of other processes while he has designed the path of Bhakti Yoga, which is itself incomplete, which is in itself complete. Okay, it is complete in itself, so it doesn't need the help of Gyan and Vairagya path. Yeah, please read.
Having a taste for bhakti will destroy the attachment to material objects. Thus, the hardness of heart caused by practice of Vairagya will not take place, and still detachment will manifest. At the stage of ruchi or taste for bhakti, material attraction will be destroyed for the most part prior.
Yeah, so this is very important point which Rupa Goswami is describing here, and many devotees may not be able to practically apply it, because generally the uh, devotees in general go the other way. They think that it's very important to focus on anartha nivritti and austerities to progress in my bhakti. Okay. But Rupa Goswami is just saying the opposite over here. Where he has very clearly mentioned that having a taste for bhakti means artha pravritti. Okay, how I can develop more and more taste for chanting, reading, hearing, and developing a relationship with Krishna and his devotees is more of a focus than to think about, oh, I have lust, I have anger, greed, illusion, envy, pride, and how I can remove this problem, how I can remove that problem, what is the solution for this problem, what is solution from that problem. No, he is saying focus on the positive instead of focusing on the negative. Very clearly he has mentioned, you can see, having a taste for bhakti will destroy the attachment to metal objects, and he continues, thus the hardness of heart caused by practice of vairagya will not take place, and still detachment will manifest. So one doesn't have to do some austerities which are not required, which are not prescribed by bhakti, like doing some kind of chaturmasya, okay, or doing very long hard practices which are going to affect one's navavida bhakti. and going to take away his time from Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, and general time of chanting all these things. So one doesn't have to do all this. Just focus on the very basic thing which Prabhupada has given. Okay, and follow the simple program of observing fasting on Ekadashi. Okay, whichever whatever extent it is possible, and that's why we have seen also devotees sometimes going out of the way and doing some fasting on Ekadashi and affecting their devotional service itself. Either they are not able to do their service properly or they are not able to do their chanting, reading, hearing properly. What is to be the focus is given here. Focus is the nine processes, nine limbs of bhakti. Navavida bhakti has to be focused. For that, if one is required to take some prasad, which is needed for the body, he can take. To the best, he can try to do the fasting and austerities. That is the point. Okay. And many times devotees try to learn how to do all these things from other institutes. I don't know how they get the idea, but that is not required at all. Okay, just try to focus on the bhakti, positives, parts of the bhakti, limbs of bhakti, and what program Prabhupada is given. That is very much good enough. Okay. At the stage of ruchi of or the taste for bhakti, material attraction will be destroyed for the most part. So nashtaprayashu abhadreshu, even at the stage of nishta only it happens. Okay, and ruchi and asakti it will be much more. Continue. Uh, okay, maybe
So
you are
the
busy.
meaning is that it will be
Yeah.
completely destroyed with the maturation of bhakti. It is not mentioned but understood from this statement that the taste for bhakti not only produces vairagya but also jnana.
Yeah, so same thing. It doesn't have to be done separately, but it will be done along with the bhakti path only, where agyan and gyan will be automatically done. So don't have to do anything separately. Okay. Okay. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitah Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yada Hetukam. Yeah,
By
please read.
rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world.
Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.7, he has given this proof that it doesn't have to be done separately. One automatically, immediately gets knowledge and detachment. Yeah.
Actually, a person who is developing Krishna consciousness and still has some detachment to material enjoyment will soon be freed from such a tendency by regularly discharging devotional service under the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master.
Yeah, so same thing as we discussed in law, just one has to just carry on whatever Srila Prabhupada is given. What he has to carry on? Regular discharging of devotional service. That's it. Okay, nothing other practices are required. Just do your 16 rounds, whatever possible. Morning program, whatever limbs you are able to do, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, whatever, and whichever is giving you most nourishment in all those limbs, try to do that more. That will absorb you more into bhakti and clean the heart quickly. Okay. Now he is going to define the Yukta Vairagya. Okay, now what kind of renunciation devotees could practice? Okay, which is favorable for bhakti. Okay, and most of the part Yukta Vairagya is misunderstood what it means. Okay, let us see what Rupa Goswami has exactly told about Yukta Vairagya. अनासक्तस्य विषयान् यथा अर्हम् उपयुञ्जतः निर्बन्ध कृष्ण संबंधे युक्तं वैराग्यम् उच्यते. Okay, somebody else can read. Ashri Gangaputra, you want to read?
The
He has
Vair-
messaged me, I guess, Gangavati or someone has messaged that he is laid out.
I can read.
Not sure. Yes.
The Vairagya of that person who employs objects suitable for devotional development while remaining detached from them is said to be the suitable for bhakti. The object should be persistently related to Krishna. Bhakti Rasamrasa.
Special Vairagya called Yukta Vairagya, suitable for bhakti. Yukta. Yukta means something which is suitable. For what? Bhakti. Okay. It can go along with bhakti. What is that? So, three things he has said. First is he is saying anasaktasya vishayan, that he remains detached from the object. So the object he is using in bhakti, he should be first of all detached from that object. That means if sometime he is told to give up that object, he is ready to give it up. Okay. And sometimes he is told that no, you have to accept that object and use it in service. He is able to accept also. Like Prabhupada would tell that if oh yeah, reporter asked him that why do you have to come in these costly cars and come to this big hotel to give interviews? So Prabhupada told that yeah, it's not because of me I am coming. It is for you I am coming. Because if I don't come in this way and don't stay in such a place, you will not be able to value me. Okay. So for you to value me, I have accepted this. Okay. So for Prabhupada, sitting under a tree and sitting in a big five-star hotel, both are same. Because both the places he is able to do his bhakti and do his service to Krishna. The first is one has to be detached from the sense object or the object he is using. Second, yatha arham upayunjatah. So he is saying who employs objects suitable for devotional development. Means the object which is given should be suitable, which he is using, and then it has to be used only for the purpose it is given. Okay, it is given only, it is used only for the purpose for which it was meant. Okay, so whatever we may have mobile, laptop, or whatever, it should be used only for the purpose for which it is meant. Okay, first is that he should be detached from that. Second is it should be used, it should be a suitable object which is used only in a suitable way. Third qualification is nirbandha Krishna sambandhe. What is the translation for this? The object should be persistently related to Krishna. Okay, it should not be related to oneself, but it should be related to Krishna. Okay, means it has to be used only in service of Krishna. Okay, so these three things are met, qualifications are met, then it is called Yukta Vairagya. Okay, and it's a very high level of definition actually, which sometimes devotees think that yeah, I am using any object, I am doing Yukta Vairagya. But what they would mean actually is they may be meaning that they are dovetailing. Okay, dovetailing is a word also where devotees use some of the objects in Krishna consciousness in their own progress of bhakti, and that is much different from Yukta Vairagya. But in dovetailing, one may be attached to the object. If he is asked to give up that object, he may not be able to give up the object actually. And sometimes because of the anartha in the heart, he may use it for personal service also. Okay, it was meant only for Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, but he may use for his own service also sometime. And sometime he may use it for a purpose which it was in a way which is it's not meant. Okay, it was meant for only in a particular way to be used, but he used it in another way. So that also may happen. Okay, or he may out of attachment choose a unsuitable object for service. Okay. Even though he might be told, no, no, this is a better object and this is what a suitable object is. But because of attachment, he may choose a unsuitable object for his bhakti. Okay. And that will not be called Yukta Vairagya. Okay. These three qualifications should be made. And yeah, in a way, we can understand what it means is like we have discussed, I think, earlier in our Bhagavad Gita discussion also, that there may be a devotee who is using any of the object like maybe car, he may be using in bhakti, and he may be told, oh Prabhu, today such certain Maharaj is coming from airport, would you like to pick him up? So he will happily do that service. Okay, and he may go and pick up, and he may bring him to the temple and do all the services. That could be called dovetailing if he is attached to the car. But if we see the case of like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur using the car, so he purchased the car itself for a particular purpose. It's not that he already had a car, then he came into bhakti, or he had some attachment to the car and then he used it. No. So he used the car, he purchased the car for the purpose of using it in bhakti only, and he did that. That is called Yukta Vairagya. Okay. Whereas dovetailing is what we have attachment to the object, let's say the car, and then we are asked, okay, can you do this service with the car, which a facility you have, we may have like the metal body we have, or we may have some material skills like singing, or we may have some skills by which we can attract some devotees, some people. So then that could be asked by our senior devotees to engage that in bhakti. So we may be very much attached to that skill of singing and skill of doing water management. Okay, but for us it is dovetailing. But when great devotees do it, it may not be dovetailing. It can be called Yukta Vairagya because they qualify these three uh, tick marks are there for them. All three. First is Anasaktas Vishyan. They are completely detached from that. Second is they are using a suitable object only in the way it is used. It is supposed to be used. Yatha Aram Upayunjata. Third is they are using it only for Krishna service. Okay, these are the 3 points. Okay, let's see the commentary. Yeah, please read.
With this verse, the author shows the type of vairagya which is suitable for entering bhakti and which was previously mentioned. The vairagya of the person employing material objects only to the extent that they are favorable for his devotional development, while being detached from material enjoyment, is suitable for bhakti.
Yeah, so that's what that first part he is saying, not first part, second part. Upayunjata yatha arham. Okay, that is first part, second line of the sloka. Yeah, correct. Read.
In this, there should be persistence in relating the object to Krishna.
Nirbandha. It should be without interruption. Okay, not that in between he used for his own service and then later used for Krishna service also. Okay, it should be persistently used only for service of the Lord. Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada about this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami then recommends that they should one should not be attached to material sense enjoyment, but should accept everything enjoyable which is in the relation to Krishna. For example, eating is necessary, and one wants some palatable dishes to satisfy his sense of taste. So, in that case, for satisfaction of Krishna, rather than for the satisfaction of tongue, some palatable dishes may be prepared and offered to Krishna.
Yeah, so very nice example Prabhupada has given. So he is saying, Rupa Goswami recommending that one should not be attached to material sense enjoyment. Why one should not be attached? Because earlier it was told that one who is attached to material sense enjoyment, for him bhakti will be very difficult. Why is it difficult? Because again he will keep getting thoughts of I have to enjoy that object, I have to enjoy that object. Okay, and we have ourselves experienced that if we have such something available with us, which we could enjoy or we could eat, then even while doing bhakti, our mind keeps going to that object. And there is a very famous story with about a sadhu who was begging in the village, and every day he would get some simple alms like rice and chapati and all he will get. But one day when he was begging, he got some very nice item like pua. In our North India, they make during Holi pua they make. So it is very juicy. Juicy means in the sense it's with sugar syrup. It is drenched with sugar syrup. So it was given to him one day. So he had a vow that okay, I will chant certain rounds, and then after that only I read. So while he was chanting, the mind was again and again telling that today I have got something very special, so I should eat it first. So what this sadhu did is he took out the pua and he threw it in the river. So now there is no option for the mind then to cry and just to chant. But obviously, as a bhakti yogi, we may not do like that. Okay, because we don't want to artificially detach. So for us, we can try to either distribute with devotees and take also a little bit. Okay, and keep our mind satisfied because we don't want to make the mind uh, very hard-hearted and our heart very hard-hearted by not giving any kind of enjoyment. But there should be yukta vairagya. Okay, so whatever needed for keeping the body and soul together and keeping the mind very satisfied, it should not be those which are uh, there is always a differentiation between what is the need and what is the greed. Okay, so one should not go to the side of greed. One should keep the mind in control, but not give anything to the mind. So whatever required, little bit can be given to make it keep satisfied, and then ask for cooperation of the mind to do further devotional service, like that. Okay, so bhakti yogi should be balanced. not too attached, not too detached. That's why. And then Prabhupada is saying, for example, eating is necessary. So once in a while, devotee also should enjoy prasad, or if some palatable item is there. So they should try to make it more and more Krishna conscious by, as Prabhupada is saying, offering it to Krishna. So whatever items one may like, they should surely cook. But they should understand that, oh yeah, Krishna also will like this item. They may like some good item, samosa or kachori, like Prabhupada used to like. So he would also be happy when devotees will offer him. So that is not like sense gratification, or he's not trying to dovetail, obviously. So for us, he is teaching that, yeah, okay. And Prabhupada would like to very much cook also and offer it to Lord. So we should do also, and we should offer it to the Lord, and then we should eat. So then, why that what will happen is our enjoying mentality will get purified, and that is the way for a bhakti yogi to get purified of enjoying mentality, not by rejecting the object. Okay, so that is not the method. For us, the method is offer it to Krishna, offer that object to Krishna, and accept it in service of Krishna. That's it. Okay, so tongue is not that we have to cut out the tongue or we have to seal the tongue. No, it can be given prasad, Krishna prasad. That's why. Yeah, please continue.
Then it is renunciation. Let the palatable dishes be prepared, but unless they are offered to Krishna, one should not accept them for eating. This vow of rejecting anything which is not offered to Krishna is actually renunciation. And by such a renunciation, one is able to satisfy the demands of the senses.
Of the senses. Okay. Yeah, so same thing as we discussed. Yeah, so if it is not offered to Krishna, like we have seen Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur himself, the mango was not offered. So he did a mistake. So then he made a vow only that I will never eat mango. So many of his disciples would come and offer him mangoes, not knowing that he has a vow like that. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur would tell humbly that, yeah, actually I am offender to the mangoes. So, and Krishna, that I have eaten it. Like, so he did not accept. So we don't have to make such a very great vows like that, but we should accept the fact that we should take only Krishna Prasad. Okay. So for us, if we try to make such vows, then it will be like artificial, because acharyas actually have that much Krishna's attachment that they can make such detached vows. But for us, we don't have that much attachment to Lord. So if we make it, we will be doing it artificially, and after some time, we'll be frustrated. Okay, so we have seen many times devotees think that I will not eat sweet for this 1 month, Kartik month, or these 4 months, and after that whole thing is over, then they eat double of what was the quota. So that's quite artificial. Better to be regulated. That's what Krishna says. Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmashu. Swapna yukta sapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. The dukkha will be gone away. Obviously, it's in a different context, but for devotees, Prabhupada said that we should use it, that regulated enjoyment. Okay, and that's why the different ashramas, even the Grihastha ashrama, is for regulated way of enjoying also. Okay, so everybody in all the ashramas there is some regulated enjoyment is there, because the purpose of bhakti yoga is not to make the hard-hearted. Yeah. And now he's saying that which kind of renunciation should be rejected. Prapanchikataya buddhya hari sambandhi vastuna mumukshubhi parityago vairagyam falgu kathyate. Okay, somebody else can read. What happened? Okay, Bhakti Leela Mataji. Okay, are you available today? Hare Krishna. After many days seeing you.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Your
Test.
health is okay now?
Yes, Prabhuji, little bit.
Okay, okay.
Test for bhakti destroys all material attachment. Rejection of things related to the Lord by person desiring liberation and who thinks that these things are simply material object is called useless vairagya. Falgu vairagya.
Yeah, so he defining the Falgu Vairagya. Okay. So false renunciation or useless renunciation, like that. Okay. So for whom it is useless? It is useless for those who are practitioners of Bhakti Yoga. Okay. And what it is? Rejection of things related to the Lord. That which object is actually could be used in devotees in the service of the Lord by devotees. Okay. And it is understood that yeah, it should be used. So like Prabhupada has told, utility is the principle. Okay, so whatever could be used, like he used the microphone for it became very fast for Prabhupada to actually write the books, and using the airplane. So these are all which was not done by previous acharyas, and many more things are there which Prabhupada did, but just simple examples I am telling. So which could be used in service of the Lord and spreading the movement should not be rejected. That is the point. Okay. So Prabhupada would many times actually speak this, that there are some sannyasis who say that I don't touch even 1 rupee. Okay. So Prabhupada would not say like that. He would tell, no, no, bring me millions and millions of dollars. I'll use it all in Krishna service. You can click my photo with briefcase full of money. And no problem. Because I am using it all in Krishna service. So that's how Prabhupada would say. And we as devotees also should try to do it, but in our capacity. Whatever is our devotional strength, accordingly we should accept the objects. We should not accept too much extravagant objects also, which may distract us from bhakti. Like for Sudama, Krishna knew that he is such a great devotee, even giving such very, very big opulent objects, he will not be deviating from bhakti. So for devotees, the opulence actually is explained in one of the purports by Srila Prabhupada, is not given by the Durga Devi. It's given by Mother Lakshmi for devotees, the opulences, because they are all devotional assets, and they should be used in bhakti, in the service of Narayan. But the objects or opulences of the materialistic people are temporary, and they are given by the Durga Devi or the in charge of the material world. So that's why for devotee, rejection of things related to Lord is not very suitable. They should use those objects. Okay, and rejection of things related to the Lord by persons desiring liberation who think that these things are simply metal objects is called Falgu Vairagya or useless Vairagya. So people who are desiring liberation, they want to reject everything. They want to reject their senses itself. They want to merge into Brahman. They don't want to have any senses. But what is the definition of sadhana bhakti we studied was kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhava. Correct. Kriti sadhya means the action of the senses which leads to the goal. What is the goal? Bhavet sadhya bhava. The bhava bhakti is the goal. Okay, so that is the sadhya, goal of bhakti. So we should engage our senses so that we can attain the goal of sadhya. That is bhava bhakti. So for us, we don't have to reject the senses. And one of the prayers of Prithu Maharaj also, our acharyas comment that Prithu Maharaj is saying that, oh, all these impersonal people want to give up their senses. They want to give up their tongue, ears, nose, everything. Please take away all their senses and give it to me. Let me have millions of ears. Let me have millions of nose so that I can serve you with all those senses. Like Rupa Goswami is saying, Tunde Tandavini Ratim Vitunate Tundavali Labdhe कर्णः क्रोडकदम्बिनी घतयते कर्णार्बुदेभ्यः स्पृहं चेतः प्राङ्गिणसङ्गिनी विजयते सर्वेन्द्रियाणां कृतिं नो जाने जनितः कियद्भिरमृते कृष्णेति वर्णं द्वयि. So he's saying कर्णः क्रोडकदम्बिनी घतयते कर्ण अर्बुदेभ्यः स्पृहं. Arbudha is like 11 trillion, 11 million, like that. Okay, so that many I want ears uh, and senses, so that I can relish the taste of Krishneti Varnam Dvai. These two letters, Krish and Na. Okay, these two Varna, Krishna and Na. Yeah, please read.
One should also understand what type of Vairagya is unsuitable or useless, Falgu for Bhakti. The author thus speak of Vairagya of those opposed to Lord, which end in offense. Hari Sambandhi Vastu, useful in the service of Lord, refer to things such as the Lord's food remnant.
Yeah, so Lord's Uchishta, Lord's Prasad, and other things. Yeah.
Rejection of object related to the Lord is of two types. Not asking for those objects related to the Lord and rejecting them when offered. One should understand that the second type of rejection become an offense. This is stated in Vishnu Yamala. The Vaishnava should never refuse the prasad of Vishnu, quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilas 2.178.
Yeah, so rejection can be of two types. First is not asking for those objects. Second is rejecting when they are given to us. So this second one is an offense, he is saying. So when somebody offers some thing which can be used in service and not accepting it, it becomes an offense. But if oneself he is not going and asking, that is not an offense. But one can do that also because it is helpful for bhakti. Continue.
The impersonalists who try to avoid everything material may undergo severe austerities, but they miss the opportunity of being engaged in the service of the Lord. Thus, their renunciation is not sufficient for perfection. There are many instances where, following such a artificial renunciation without any contact with devotional service, the impersonalist again fell down and become attracted to material contamination.
Yeah. So same thing Prabhupada is continuing. The impartialist, the mumukshu he is saying parityago, they give up. What? Everything material. Like I said, the sense objects, senses itself, they give up. But they miss the opportunity of being engaged in service. So if they don't have the sense of objects and senses only, how will they engage in service of the Lord? So that realization is not sufficient for perfection. And they will not attain even liberation also because they are rejecting the objects even in service, and that is disrespect to the Lord. So vimukta maninaha yushmad angreha anadrita, they will fall down like that. Okay. Yeah, continue.
There are many supposed renouncer even at the present moment who officially become sannyasis or renouncer and outwardly claim that spiritual existence is truth and material existence untruth. In this way, artificially they make a show of renunciation of the material world.
Yeah.
However, because they cannot reach the point of devotional service, they fail to achieve the goal and they again come back to material activities such as philanthropic work and political agitation. There are many examples of so called sannyasis who gave up the word as an untruth but again came to the material world because they were not seeking their real repose at the lotus feet of the Lord.
Yeah. So same verse Prabhupada is actually explaining. Anadrita yushmad angreha patanti adha. So they could not respect the lotus feet of the Lord and they could not respect the objects which could be used in bhakti. So they actually failed to achieve the goal and they again come back to this political life. And Prabhupada would say many times they will open hospital and schools, all these things. Yeah, and they get deviated from their goal. Okay, any questions till here? Okay, so then we will continue. So other prominent practices which do not constitute the limb of pure bhakti, pure devotional service. Yeah. धन शिष्यादिभिर्द्वारैर् या भक्तिरुपपाद्यते विदुरत्वाद् उत्तमा उत्तमता हन्या तस्याश्च नांगता. Okay, please read. Nagnijiti Priyamati, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. That bhakti which is accomplished by dependence on wealth, followers, or other objects cannot be considered as an anga of Uttama bhakti because it destroys the pure nature of that bhakti. It is situated far away from Uttama bhakti.
So there are few things which are obstacles in bhakti and some things which are far away from bhakti. So obstacles were jnana and vairagya were told, correct? And there is this dhana, wealth, shishya, followers, okay, adi bhi and many other things which will be told in purport also. So dependence on wealth, followers, okay, to do our bhakti, if somebody is depending on these things, that cannot be considered as anga of uttama bhakti. Or one thinks that yeah, bhakti is increasing by increasing wealth. My bhakti is increasing by increasing the number of followers or disciples. That is far away from uttama bhakti because it destroys the pure nature of that bhakti. Okay. Yes, please read.
Bhakti accomplished through wealth and followers indicates this negligence or inattentiveness. Such execution cannot be accepted as an anga of Uttama Bhakti. Among the angas of Bhakti, wealth and the other items are generally not needed for hearing and chanting.
Yeah. Just 1 minute. There is one line missing here in the commentary. One line previous to this, because it's mentioned this negligence or inattentiveness. This before this, there is some line here.
Would that mean his negligence instead
No,
of
no,
this?
there is one line above that which is missing here. I will just show that. Yeah, that line is correct, but there is one line missing above it. Just 1 minute. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. You can see. Mm. Okay, this we discussed about Falgu Vairagya. Yeah. Okay. Please read this.
In the phrase Jnana Karmadi Anavritta, not covered by Jnana, karma, or other things includes laxness in execution of bhakti. Bhakti accomplished through wealth and followers indicates this negligence or inattentiveness. Such execution cannot be accepted as an anga of Uttam Bhakti.
Yeah. So yeah, this line was missing. So basically, here it is said that what when we studied Gyan Karma the Anavritam in the definition of Uttama Bhakti, there what this Adi word also includes is other things includes is laxness or laziness. So laziness in execution of bhakti, and laxness can be of different kinds also. Like uh, and devotees have different kinds of difficulties also, which they are struggling. So somebody may have difficulty of waking up early, and somebody may have difficulty of sleeping early. Okay, and somebody may have difficulty of sitting and chanting. Okay, so whatever, there are different things which one can try to do their best. But if it goes in a very uh, different zone, where one is compromising his 16 rounds and compromising his basic bhakti, four regulative principles, then it is not in Uttama Bhakti. Okay, that's what Rupa Goswami is saying. Okay, includes laxness in execution of bhakti. And bhakti accomplished through wealth and followers indicates this negligence or inattentiveness. Okay, inattentiveness. So here already it is told that what was told? Wealth and followers or other objects cannot be considered as an anga of bhakti. Okay, dependence on such things. Or thinking that by increasing these things we will increase our bhakti. So such kind of things is also included in laxness or laziness or inattentiveness, in other words. Such execution cannot be accepted as an anga of uttama bhakti. Okay, this is what was missing there. Yeah, please read.
Among the angas of bhakti, wealth and the other items are generally not needed for hearing and chanting. The excellence of bhakti is destroyed when it depends on wealth and followers. For instance, in deity worship, one person may feel that he cannot perform all the services for the deity at once by himself and thus depends on followers. However, this danger is not present in all angas of bhakti.
Yeah, so at the same time, like Prabhupada, he established the whole ISKCON. So he actually, we can see from life that how Krishna arranged people for him. So he did not so much go behind the people. Obviously, we have to preach, but the first person actually whom he was trying to preach, David, he would wanted to kill him only later. So he had to go away from that place. Then again he has to start new. He lost his typewriter, correct? And then he had to start again in the Second Avenue, 26 Second Avenue. He started, and then everything started again. So preaching he was doing while depending on Krishna, that whomever Krishna sends, he will accept. Okay. So, and also not trying to do something by hook and crook. Like sometime later, devotees started to sell books by hook and crook. They would go to petrol pump and fill the petrol, and then they will say, "We don't have money, so would you like to take our books?" So after filling the petrol, they will go give their books. So such doing such kind of things, we would not be appreciated by Prabhupada to do preaching say with such a kind of mentality or attitude. Okay, so such kind of things we don't have to do in bhakti, but do our genuine preaching, and those who are genuine people, those who have sukriti will be automatically attracted, and all the things will be fulfilled. As we see in the life of Rupa Goswami, all the acharyas, they never went behind to collect money to construct temples. But Rupa Goswami was himself given, the businessman came and he gave the donation, and at the same time other acharyas also, and Prabhupada also. So they never had a separate program just to raise the funds to construct temples. Obviously Prabhupada, he did start a life membership and so many other things practically, which we should follow, and we should also do such innovations in following him, because as the metal world is keep on changing, we should try to innovate more and more things to be relevant. But that should not be going in this direction which is mentioned here, to think that by getting more and more wealth we are advancing, by getting more and more followers, by getting more disciples, I am becoming great. Okay, like that. And even the disciples should not think that because our guru has more number of disciples, so we are actually the best, you know, we are the highest among the devotees in ISKCON or like this. So sometimes in beginning we may have such thought process. Okay, so that should not be considered as bhakti. Yeah, continue.
The spiritual master must never be carried away by an accumulation of wealth or a large number of followers. A bona fide spiritual master will never become like that. But sometimes, if a spiritual master is not properly authorized and only on his own initiative becomes a spiritual master, he may be carried away by an accumulation of wealth and large number of disciples.
Yeah, so we have seen outside institutes, there have been many people who claim themselves to be guru, and many of them become their followers. And later they are found out in some illicit activities, and then they are in jail. So a few years ago, there was Bapuji, somebody, we don't like to take names, but there was a famous case history where it happened that he was self-authorized guru, and he was preaching also very much, but he was found to be in illicit sex with so many of the people, or so-called disciples. So cheater and the cheated. That's what Prabhupada also said. So some people want to get cheated, and there are some genuine people also who falsely get attracted because of whatever reasons. So cheater and cheated, always it is there. Hmm. So somebody who has self-proclaimed guru, and then it's very likely that they may fall also to such accumulation of wealth and disciples. Yeah.
He is not a very high grade of devotional service. His is not a very high grade of devotional service. If a person is carried away by such achievements, then his devotional service becomes slackened. One should therefore strictly adhere to the principles of disciplic succession.
Yeah, and at the same time, we should never do the mistake of judging others. Oh, he has more disciples, or we should never criticizing. So that is very, very dangerous for our bhakti. Never even think that okay, we should try to judge even anybody else. Okay, especially in ISKCON, I'm saying. Okay, outside, if we have some people whom our persons whom we may be preaching, they are hearing to them. Nowadays it happens because YouTube is so much accessible that they hear anybody and everybody, and they ask us sometimes, oh, there is some baba like this, and they are following, so many people are following him, should I hear his lectures or not? So we may not know about them, so we can do some research and find, or ask our senior devotees who will know, to understand who is that person, but we should not criticize them. and surely never inside ISKCON. Somebody may have more disciples, somebody may have less disciples. For us, we should not try to judge them. Okay, like that. That we should be very careful. Okay, now again he is saying Visheshanatvam evaisham samsharanti adhikarinam vivekadini ato amisham api na angatvam uchyate. Yes, please read.
Discrimination and other material qualities cannot be considered as angas of Uttama Bhakti, since on their own they take shelter of the excellent conditions of the persons practicing Uttama Bhakti.
Yeah, so one doesn't have to separately cultivate these qualities of discrimination and other material qualities like cleanliness and all will be told later. So any material quality we may see in non-devotees, like they are very much systematic, they are very much planned, they are having a very good clean habits, or they are having very good, business, whatever may influence us. But they are all material qualities and it is just under the modes. After the modes change, that qualities also will change. So such qualities devotees uh, will also gain automatically by the practice of bhakti. Okay, yes, please read.
Discernment and other qualities take shelter of the excellent condition, Visheshanatvam, of the devotees. Thus, discrimination and other qualities should not be considered angas.
Yeah, so it's not that they are not important. Please don't think in that way. It's not that they are not important, but what it's being said is they are not angas of bhakti. Hmm. They are not that bhakti depends on them. Okay, or we have to have it for cultivating bhakti. It's not like that. Okay, so discrimination and other good quality, whatever is required, that will automatically come. Okay, any questions till now? Okay, so he is going to give a proof for this. All good qualities automatically take shelter of a devotee. Okay, Krishnonmukham swayam yanti yama sudash शौचादयस्तथा इति एषां च न युक्ता स्याद् भक्ति अंगांतरपातिता. Yes.
Basic rules of conduct, Yamaha, rules of cleanliness and other actions, Yamaha Sauchadayas, Tatha, appear automatically in those who are extremely dedicated to Krishna. Krishnonmukham Swayam Yanti. Thus, they are not included as Angas of Bhakti. Iti yasyam bhaktya angantara patita na syad.
So these basic rules of conduct, okay, speaking politely, or eating habits, or whatever, the basic rules of conduct which is favorable for bhakti, and rules of cleanliness, okay, they will automatic, and other actions, okay, saucha adaya, they will automatically appear if whichever whatever is favorable, that will automatically appear in the devotees who are extremely dedicated to Krishna. And at the same time, one should not think that, oh, it's not my responsibility to be clean, it's not my responsibility to have good conduct. I can speak in any way. Anyhow, bhakti will do it for me, right? I don't have to be clean. I don't have to do all these things. Not going in that direction also, but one should try their best. So, Bhakti Rasamani Swami Maharaj, actually, he has a quote in which he says, one should forge oneself. This word he uses, forge, means one should try his very best, forge oneself to to cultivate good qualities. Okay, so that it can be used in service of Krishna and devotees, like that. Okay, so one should forge oneself. So that's what here also he says. So those who are extremely dedicated, those who are actually trying their best to cultivate such habits, Krishna will give. But one doesn't have to go out of the way to hear some materialistic speakers how to become clean, how to have good conduct. All these things are not required. Okay, whatever is needed, everything is there in our books. In the Gaudiya Sampradaya, our acharyas have not left us orphans to go outside in other institutes and try to find out how to be clean or how to be keep healthy. All these things are given in our books. What is lacking is we are not reading our books. That's why we are going and attending outside seminars. So if we read our books, our acharyas have given everything. Okay. Yeah, please read.
By stating that Yama and Shaucha automatically appear in the devotee, the author rejects them as Angas of Bhakti, action that produce Bhakti. The rules of conduct, Yama, are as follows.
ahimsa satyam asteyam asango harir असञ्चयः आस्तिक्यं ब्रह्मचर्यं च मौनं स्थैर्यं क्षमा भयम्.
Non-violence, truthfulness, not coveting or stealing the property of others, detachment, humility, freedom from possessiveness, trust in the principles of religion, celibacy, silence, steadiness, forgiveness, and fearlessness are the 12 primary disciplinary principles. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.19.33. Should the devotees in whom the good qualities do not appear on their own be considered to be actually non devotees? This verse answers. Krishnonmukham means extremely dedicated to Krishna. Now, for those persons extremely absorbed in Krishna, the good qualities spontaneously appear.
Yeah, so are should the others be considered non-devotees? He's saying no, not like that. We can understand that they are not trying extremely hard, or they are not extremely dedicated to Krishna. So when they become, as they progress in bhakti, nishtha, ruchi, asakti, they will be extremely dedicated to Krishna, and that qualities will automatically appear in them. Okay, and at the same time, we should not judge the devotees, because we should not say, oh, he is more clean devotee. That's why he looks like he is extremely dedicated to Krishna and he is more advanced. Not like that. Sometimes devotees may bring good qualities from their materialistic modes also. Okay, which is good for bhakti. Like in the mode of goodness, somebody is there who was already not eating, suppose meat or fish or anything, or he was already having good habits. It's very easy for him to go ahead in bhakti, but please understand, they are not required to enter into bhakti. For entering into bhakti, only Sukriti is required. Okay. It's not about how much one has good habits. Because Jagai Madai we see, and there are many examples like Prabhupada also taught to hippies, and we ourselves, we had so many bad actually tendencies and qualities. So it doesn't depend on the cleanliness or bad conduct. But what depends to enter into bhakti is Sukriti. But to go ahead after one has come, if one has come from the background of goodness, it becomes very easy for him to progress. Okay. So one should not judge the devotees that seeing these external things that he looks to be more advanced because he's more clean or he doesn't have bad conduct. No, they can be there because of their past life material habits also. Okay, which is conducive now. Okay, like that. Etena hi adbhuta व्याध तवाहिंसादयो गुणः हरिभक्तौ प्रवृत्ताये न तेषु परतापिनः. Yeah.
O hunter, these qualities such as nonviolence are not astonishing because the persons who engage in devotion to the Lord will never cause affliction to others. Skanda Puran.
Yeah. So he is saying Vyadha. So who is this person Vyadha? Hunter, who kills the animal. So surely he is having a hard heart because he is chosen this occupation of killing the animals only. So these qualities such as non-violence are not astonishing. Okay, because he has now become a devotee like Brigari. So we can understand that he has become a devotee, so he is even resistant to kill the ants like that. Okay, so because the persons who engage in devotion to the Lord will never cause affliction to others. Yeah. Anta suddhir bahi suddhe tapa shanti adhyasthatha ami guna prapadyante hari seva abhikaminam.
Internal and external purity, austerity, sense control, peacefulness, and other qualities take shelter of persons who desire to serve the Lord. Skanda Puran.
Yeah, so now it is told just we have to focus on service to the Lord and doing the limbs of bhakti. Automatically internal antah and bahi shuddhi. Ah, your smaret pundrikaksham sa bahya abhyantah suchihi. Correct. So the both will automatically come. And what else? The austerity, which is sense control. One doesn't have to separately go and learn the principles of brahmacharya from other institutes, those who are actually very much, we can say, master in doing brahmacharya, because they are following the path of jnana yoga, so austerity is very natural for them. So for devotees, we don't have to go and take seminars from them. For us, we have to just do our regular bhakti which Prabhupada has given. That will automatically give the necessary renunciation, whichever is favorable. If we learn from them, we will get artificial renunciation, which will make other heart hard. Okay, peacefulness, okay, and other qualities which are there, it will automatically come. Yeah, please read.
Srila Prabhupada about this section. A Krishna conscious person, being naturally purified, has no need of developing any other purificatory process of thoughts or action. On account of his being highly elevated in Krishna consciousness, he has already acquired all the good qualities and is following the rules and regulations prescribed for the mystic yogic process. Such rules are automatically practiced by the devotees.
Yeah. So Prabhupada is also saying the same thing, that one doesn't have to artificially go and learn all these things, purificatory process. So on account of his being highly elevated in Krishna consciousness, he has already acquired. So he will automatically get all these good qualities. Yeah.
A concrete example is the quality of nonviolence, which is considered a good qualification. A devotee is naturally nonviolent and therefore doesn't have to practice nonviolence separately. Some people seek purification by joining a vegetarian movement, but a devotee is automatically a vegetarian. He doesn't need to practice separately in this matter or to join any society for vegetarians. He is automatically a vegetarian.
Yeah. So that's why Prabhupada is saying here, example, quality of non-violence, as the shloka is saying about Vyadha. Okay. So devotee is naturally non-violent and doesn't have to practice it separately. So Mrigari, he as he developed bhakti, automatically he understood that yes, I should not kill the ants, and he was very careful. So he did not go and learn separate seminars how to become non-violent or do things like that. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Any questions till now? Okay. So now I think this may be the last topic for Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti. Okay, we'll discuss this Ekanga and Anekanga Bhakti. स भक्तिर एक मुख्यांग श्रीतांगी अनेकांगी कथा वा स्ववासनानुसारेण निष्ठिता सिद्धिकरित भवेत्. Okay, somebody else can read. Mukund Patro, want to read?
Bhakti taking shelter of one principal anga or many angas according to one's desire, and practice steadiness brings about the desired result, bhava and prema. Bhakti Rasamrita.
Yeah, thank you. So bhakti taking shelter of one principal anga, ek anga or many angas. Na ekangi means anekangi basically. It's many of the angas according to one's desire or vasana. Basically, whatever previous life he has got impressions from all different devotees. Okay, to cultivate one anga. So somebody may have more attraction towards chanting. Somebody may have more attraction towards reading or hearing. Somebody may have more attraction towards different devotional service limbs. So, as per one's previous vasana or one's desire, and practice with steadiness, it brings about the desired result. What is the result? Bhava and then prema. So either it can be done with the shelter of one anga or many anga. What is the meaning? It will be explained now. But one another point, very important point, is according to one's desire. So there is a freedom to choose which limb one may want to engage more. Okay. So even though one understands that chanting is the most important limb, okay, but there is also a provision that after one has done the required time he has given for chanting, reading, hearing, whatever, like as an institute, there is a need of some certain amount of things to be done. Like there is a morning program and 16 hours of chanting and other things are there. After one has fulfilled those, one can surely do those limbs which he is liking more. Yeah, please read.
Parikshit is an example of hearing about the Lord, and Sukadeva is an example of chanting the glories of the Lord. Prahlada is an example of remembering the Lord, and Lakshmi is an example of serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Pruthu is an example of performing deity worship of the Lord. Akrura is an example of attaining perfection by offering prayers to the Lord. Hanuman is an example of service with attitude of servant of the Lord. Arjuna is an example of friendship with the Lord. Bali is an example of offering the same to the Lord. They achieved Krishna by following principally one anga,
Yeah. So
Padyavali.
primarily they are doing one anga. It's not that Parikshit never did chanting, or it's not that Parikshit did not do any time other devotional service limb. So they are primarily interested into one anga, but and through that they have received perfection. Yeah. So this is another example which we know about Kulashekar Maharaj. Yeah. Please read.
Srila Prabhupada about this section. The idea is that we should follow in the footsteps of great devotee. If we are unable to execute all different items of devotional service, we must try to execute at least one of them as exemplified by previous Acharya. If we are engaged in the execution of all the items of devotional service, as was Maharaj Ambrish, then the perfection of devotional service is guaranteed from each one of these items.
Yeah. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. Idea is that we should follow in footsteps of great devotees, as it was mentioned earlier. Okay. So, and if we are unable to execute all, then we can at least try to execute one, which we may be having more interest. After doing the necessary quota of reading, hearing, chanting, whatever minimum, then we should do whatever is our liking. Yeah.
With the first complete engagement, one becomes automatically detached from material contamination and liberation becomes the maid servant of the devotee. This idea is confirmed by Bilwamangal Thakur. If one develops unalloyed devotion to the Lord, liberation will follow the devotee as his maid servant.
Yeah. Same thing. So confirmed by Bilawangal Thakur that if one develops annular devotion, so then Mukti will be herself coming behind the devotee. Yeah. Okay. Any questions on what we discussed till now? Okay, so this we have completed this Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti part. So 14th chapter of NOD we completed. So next time we will start from 15th chapter Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. Okay. So we will continue tomorrow. Yeah. And today we will pause here. So those devotees, yeah, actually earlier